Hey everybody. So I just want to talk to you regarding, you know, if a narc receives their karma, right? This is a conversation that many of us continue to have, and I am definitely no different. I have been in a relationship with my first narc experience was my mother, and my second was an overt narc that I knew it was something, but I wasn't sure exactly what it was. And then, of course, the next was a very covert narc, which I've coined as the nice guy narc. And you may have your own titles, just to better understand your situation. And yes, women, can also be narcs, but I'm dating men, and these are the ones that I have learned a lot from, and it actually caused me to study. And not just study, but in the field of work that I'm in, I study behaviors and personality traits and drug addictions and mental health and all these other things. So I'm not just talking just to talk. I'm talking because, just my own personal perspective is kind of also a lived experience, and I don't mind sharing. But, do narcs or people with manipulative personalities receive karma? Oftentimes it doesn't feel like it, right? Or it doesn't look like it, but they do. And you don't have to worry if they're going to be better off, especially if we're talking about an individual, like a narcissist. Do they have a better, are they in a better relationship when they leave you? Are they able to, do and be all the things for the next person? And oftentimes we get hung up worrying about that, right? I did. So we get hung up worrying about it. But know this: when you really understand what a healthy relationship looks like, when you really truly understand what unhealthy behaviors look like, you will also understand that a narcissist is incapable of truly changing and being a consistent change on the other side of outside of any other relationship. People say that narcissists are maladaptive, meaning, yeah, they can change partially, they can show up I like to say they shapeshift. For me, I've noticed that they mirror, so you may see them in a different relationship or different environment. It's because they are mirroring that environment, they are mirroring that person, they are becoming whatever they think is needed in that time. But they're never consistently that person. They are never permanently that new person. So if your narc or your ex, let's say, suddenly picks up going to church and they have never, likely they're not going to continue that. The likelihood of them continuing it is very slim, because excuse me, if that's not really who they are, they're probably just doing it to appease someone else or to do what they think is appeasing another person. Oftentimes narcs would do any and everything to make you feel that they are normal, to make you feel that they are who they are portraying themselves to be. But who they really are is an individual that really cannot stop the cycle. They lack the ability to have self-awareness. They lack the ability to, let's say, be accountable to anyone, or anything fully. Even if you see them seemingly being accountable, trust me, it's self-serving, and it's only temporary. They lack emotional intelligence. They lack the consistency to do really anything. When we're talking about, like, oh, he or she is being so kind and they're doing all these amazing things and they're being thoughtful, and in conversations they're being inclusive, give it a moment and you'll see that that's not truly who they are. Just give time, and you will begin to see that a true narc cannot keep that consistency up. So if you really understand what a healthy relationship looks like, which is like healthy compromise, healthy conversations, healthy arguments, healthy disagreements, meaning that you can disagree and not always take it personal or feel like you're being attacked. You can have a conversation and, at first maybe you thought your ideal was great, and then you realize like, oh, maybe there is another ideal. Or maybe there is a different position I could be looking at, right? Because you're with a partner that is also healthy, and you realize like we're not opponents, we're actually on the same side. When you have the capabilities yourself of seeing that and knowing that, then you'll realize that a narcissist will not change all because they're in front of another person permanently. They will change temporarily to make you believe that, hey, I got it together, or hey, I'm different, look at me, I'm different. But the disorder is just that. It is a disorder. They will function high and then suddenly they revert back. Oftentimes it shows up like childlike behavior. So do you see that that person has like childlike behavior when handling situations, when doing certain things, maybe even in the bedroom? They'll show up like a child. Like there will be very like childlike behaviors, conversations, nothing in depth. Listen, that follows them. That follows them. That does not just go away because they stop dating you or you divorce them. It's still there. It's going to show up for the next person. Unfortunately, just give time. You may not be able to see it, but if you look at their past relationships, I bet it showed up there. You just probably didn't recognize it. And one thing I'll say that really has little to do with this, but a lot to do with this at the same time, is if every single one of their exes were crazy, or they said that they were crazy, you likely know that it wasn't their ex, it was them. All right, and as far as like the karma, like let's just talk about that. Do they get the karma? Like no, maybe the karma isn't the karma that you yourself want to see. But imagine being in a state of mind where no matter what you do, you cannot get away from yourself. No matter how much you try to change, you cannot change. You still end up the same exact way. Imagine that you've been discarded yourself because they experience narcissistic injury, and oftentimes that comes from a discard because someone looks at them and say, hold up, I value myself way more and I'm not dealing with you and your shit. Go. Imagine that. Imagine dealing with that constant rejection, that constant knowing that it's only a matter of time before you get rid of me too. Even though they walk around in their grandiosity and they look like they got it together, and maybe their arrogance and ego will say, hey, I can get rid of you, and they cause you to start feeling insecure and feeling like they're going to discard you and feeling like you're insignificant. Even though they use that tactic, the truth is that that's what they've been dealing with. So the karma they get is every single bridge that they've ever crossed, they've likely burnt, or they've had to bend over backwards and kiss a lot of ass to try to keep that bridge there. Because believe it or not, there are a lot of narcs that are also people pleasers. There are a lot of narcs that are also codependent. There are a lot of narcs that are also, most of them, everyone I know, is super insecure about something, even though they're acting super egotistical. So when we start wondering if karma ever gets to them, they live in karma. They live in their karma no matter what. Their relationships they failed relationships. They've been discarded, and no matter how much effort they put in, they cannot truly control who they are. They're going to revert back, no matter what they do. So to me, yeah, karma can also be the person that they date, or karma can be them running into a narcissist that's a bigger narcissist than they are. Or karma can be a person that's, well, I won't say another title, but karma can be a person that has a larger or more complex disorder than they have, and they like them and love them and they think they want to be with them, and it wraps them up, and then that person can become their living nightmare. But here's the truth. They tend to grow old and they're miserable and nobody wants to be around them. and they're bitter and they're angry. So no, they may not get it in their 20s. No, they may not even get it in their 30s, but it's coming. But no matter what, they live their karma every single day. And who they are is who they are is who they are. And not only that, they have a string of broken relationships. They have a string of intimate partners that want nothing to do with them. They have messaging wired in their head where they've been told how horrible they were, and people don't want to be around them. And they have to have a few people in their corner that continues to tell them that they're great, because the madness in their brain, I believe, eats at them every single day, because they lose really valuable people. They lose really amazing relationships. They lose really great connections. They're constantly losing. They fly through their money. They lose homes. They don't always have steady, consistent, satisfying jobs. So they're constantly losing. They're constantly having to buy more and more and more things to make them feel normal. They turn to drugs, alcohol, sex, just to feel something, and they can't hold on to that feeling no matter what. So if you wonder if karma is getting them, karma is them. It becomes them. At some point, you got to know that you deserve more, and the best thing that you can do for them is to leave them where they are. And the best thing you can do for yourself is to leave them where they are. So, does karma get with them? Yeah. And in my opinion, and this is just my humblest opinion, narcissists are for the streets, and they need to stay there. They do. They're not for the dating pool. That's why there's so much freaking crap and urine in the pool. They're for the streets. Let them sit out there and run those streets raggedy until they find themselves. And that's going to be a long time from now. So don't throw them back in the pool. Send them jokers back to the streets. Seriously. Don't get yourself caught up and consumed and wondering if they get their karma. Don't get yourself caught up and wondering if they're better off with someone else. They are better off somewhere else, just not with you. All right, you all, my name is Quinny Love. I am not an expert on narcissism. I just talk about a few things here at the relationship zone, and narcissism just so happens to be one. I talk all things like love, life, and relationships. We are all trying to figure it out. I think that takers should be with takers and givers should be with givers. I think that narcs should be with narcs and let them sit over there. And I think people like you and myself should find the love that we absolutely deserve, and the love that treat us well, and we are able to treat and honor them well as also. So please save yourself the mind space, and don't worry about if they're better with someone else. They're just mirroring them the same way they mirrored you. Don't worry about if karma is going to get them. They are karma. It's in them. Y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.